So, let's fast forward a bit to, say, 2026. The whole conversation around AI and software development, it has completely changed. We are way past that initial hype of, 10x productivity, and now we're staring at a much, much more complex reality. This isn't just about coding faster anymore. We are talking about a total overhaul of how we build software. So what's really going on? This is the question that's at the heart of everything right now. I mean, we're all using AI, right? But are we actually getting the results we were promised? Or did we just trade one set of problems for another? Maybe even more complicated set of problems.
Okay, so the first piece of this whole puzzle is this massive disconnect. It feels like every single developer on the planet is using AI tools, but, and this is the crazy part, almost none of them actually trust what those tools spit out. It is a really strange situation. Let's dig into the numbers.
84%. Get this. That's how many developers are either using or are planning to use AI tools right now. So this isn't some little experiment anymore. It's the new baseline. AI assistance is just table stakes. But that big number, it's hiding a much more interesting story.
Because despite that huge adoption rate, nearly half, 46% of developers actively distrust the accuracy of the code that AI generates. Think about that. They're using the tools, but they're constantly looking over their shoulder, totally skeptical of what it's giving them. And that skepticism, it's really, really deep. And here's the number that just floors me. A mere 3%. Just 3% of developers say they have high trust in AI's output. 3! I mean, come on. This isn't a minor hiccup. This is a full-blown crisis of trust. So what on earth is causing it? Well, it really comes down to this thing people are calling the almost right phenomenon. See, AI is an absolute master at producing code that looks perfect. The syntax is clean, it follows all the style guides, but hidden deep inside are these tiny, subtle logic errors or worse, security holes. And for a developer trying to debug that kind of code, it can be way more frustrating and take even longer than just writing it from scratch themselves. And all this distrust has basically created a whole new type of developer, the reluctant user. These are the pragmatic folks who are drawing a hard line in the sand. Sure, they'll use AI for some simple boilerplate code, but they refuse to let it anywhere near high-stakes tasks. Look at this. 3/4 won't use it for deployment, and almost 70% won't use it for project planning. They're basically saying, yeah, AI has conquered the keyboard, but it hasn't even come close to conquering the whiteboard.
So, here's the big question. If individual developers are cranking out code faster than ever before, why aren't we shipping new features at that same breakneck speed? Well, the answer is kind of simple and kind of frustrating. We didn't eliminate the bottleneck, we just moved it.
And this gets right to the core of the problem. It's this conflict between individual speed and the system's overall value. Yeah, a single developer can create way more stuff, more lines of code, more files, you name it, but the organization's ability to actually take all that stuff, verify it, and deliver it as real value to a customer, that has just hit a wall.
And just look at the scale of this issue. After teams adopted AI, the number of pull requests, those bundles of new code that get submitted for review, shot up by a staggering 113%. Individuals are working way faster, which is creating this absolute tidal wave of new code that the rest of the system is now forced to somehow deal with.
And that tidal wave of code, it's causing a massive traffic jam. That 113% increase in pull requests led directly to a 91% increase in the time it takes to review them. That is the new bottleneck. Your senior developers are just drowning, meticulously checking every line for those almost right errors. And not only that, the code is bigger, it's more complicated, and, this is critical, we're shipping 9% more bugs. So, we're moving faster, and we are breaking more things.
But this might be the most surprising finding of all. For experienced developers, the experts, when they were working on really complex tasks, AI actually made them 19% slower. Now, why would that be? It's all about cognitive load. An expert developer holds this intricate mental map of the entire system in their head. So for them, trying to verify unfamiliar, subtly flawed code from an AI actually takes up more mental energy than just writing it correctly from the start.
Okay, so the problems are pretty clear. The good news, though, is that the industry is adapting. We're finally moving past just dropping AI tools into our old workflows, and we're starting to develop a completely new playbook for this AI era.
So the first step is just managing expectations. AI productivity follows what they call a classic J-curve. First, there's this initial dip where everything feels chaotic while teams adjust. Then comes the really hard work of re-engineering your processes, things like automating code reviews. And only after that do you finally hit the takeoff point where you start to see real, measurable gains.
And to track that progress, we need way better metrics. We have to forget about things like lines of code. The new gold standard is something called cost to serve software. This metric looks at the total cost to deliver value. So if your AI writes code twice as fast, but that code doubles your cloud bill, CTS-SW is going to catch that. It gives you a true picture of your return on investment.
Now, looking ahead, the tools themselves are evolving pretty quickly. We're moving from simple chatbots to more context-aware tools inside our IDEs that can edit files. And finally, we're heading towards autonomous agents that can take a goal, create a multi-step plan, execute it, and even debug their own mistakes.
And this shift towards agents, it's bringing with it this surprising return to old-school engineering discipline. Think about it. With AI handling the how, the human's job becomes defining the what with absolute, crystal-clear precision. The ability to write a clear, unambiguous specification is quickly becoming the most valuable skill a developer can have.
So what does all of this mean for the developer of the future? Well, far from being replaced, their role is becoming more critical than it's ever been. But it is fundamentally changing.
This is the big shift, right here. The job is no longer about being a writer of syntax. Code itself is becoming a commodity. It's cheap and plentiful. The real value now lies in being an architect of intent. That means defining what to build and a verifier of logic, making sure the AI's execution is actually sound.
And this all presents a really key strategic choice. Are you going to fall into what's called the tiering trap, which is trying to use AI for automation to just replace humans? Or will you choose augmentation? Because the winning strategy is to use AI to extend and empower human capabilities, making your team smarter and more effective, not smaller.
So as AI makes the act of writing code nearly free, the new scarcity, the new source of incredible value becomes human judgment. The ability to ask the right questions, to define the right goals, and to verify the outcome, that is the future of software engineering.